Hello, everybody. I'm not sure why Stellaris isn't up on the screen yet. I'll try and get that fixed. You can do it. Hey, there we go. I think it's a little off scale, though. All right. What a night. I'm very sorry for the hour that I'm streaming at. I think I might need to give a little more power to the audio here. The game should be going up in volume a little bit. Let's try something like that. I don't want the game to overpower me, but I don't want it to be too quiet. So while we're waiting for the game to load, my usual excuses for being late. I am particularly late, so this is like an hour past the time that I would normally go. I'd love to say that I'll go for the full duration of the stream, but it's possible that I might need to wrap it up a bit early because I do need to make sure that I get enough sleep, and there is a lot of work for me to do at work. I'm going to be taking Thursday and Friday off, as well as Monday. That's going to mean a couple of things for the stream here. Tonight is obviously still on. Wednesday will still be on. That will still be Cultist Simulator, but I'm probably not going to be able to stream on Friday as I am going to be in Montreal. And then Monday is my birthday, so that is not a Canadian holiday, although it was apparently the original date for Canada Day, which would have been remarkably patriotic of me. But I am debating about streaming. There is a side of me that would like to do that, and there's also a side of me that says, you can spend your, you can spend the day doing something that you want to do. Not that I don't want to do streaming, but you get the idea. So best I can say, Friday we'll probably have a gap. What I might do is put up one of the VODs from a previous stream up. I had a tremendous time with Johnny Big Time on during A Way Out. If you didn't get a chance to see that yesterday, we did it at about 8 o'clock, so 25 hours ago. It is, in my opinion, it is one worth watching all the way through. It's easy for a content creator to do that kind of plug. I'll put it to you this way. I do not normally like the VODs. They don't quite work for me, which is one of the reasons why I'm primarily a live streamer. But obviously a number of you do, which is why I'm happy to provide them, and it's been a way... Kite, you handsome man, I feel like you just subscribed. Has it really been that long since we talked last? It's been forever since I've been able to catch one of your streams. Thank you so much for that. How have you been? And thank you for stopping by at this time. I know I'm 2 hours late from when I normally start, so it's very unexpected and delightful to have people inside here. Guys, if you don't know Kite, you can find him on Twitch at twitch.tv/kite260. I always like to shout out Kite as a co-op streamer, but he really... that's not probably the best label for him. It just so happens that he's incredibly personable, and he really does. He's one of the few people I think has this ability to make other broadcasters better when he streams with them. It's an ability that I have a tremendous respect for in his case, and I've no idea how he does it, but I'm very grateful for the fact that he does. He'll do everything from Rocket League to Portal. You're okay? You're going out to Cali this weekend because of the earthquake. Yes, and here's the one thing to know about Kite. The reason why you want to follow him right now, he has got a heart of gold. He helps everyone for everything. He's traveling across the United States helping out in just about any disaster that emerges. And I just think that's it's a really nice thing. But more importantly too, like it really speaks to his character, and he's definitely somebody who is an absolute pleasure to have in chat as well as a pleasure to watch. but of course, because he is always helping people, we sometimes don't have the opportunity to check him out. So if you haven't done so already, please do. Obviously, following him and checking him out now will just mean following him now will just mean that when he comes back online after saving the world, you'll be able to enjoy his excellent content. All right. As for me, I was busy talking about all my business. But a way out. Actually, Kite, I'll recommend this to you. You can actually see the VOD on Twitch right now. I know you spend a little more time on Twitch anyway, but it'll be on YouTube in a little while. I got to do A Way Out with Johnny Big Time. Now, the only thing I can say is if you haven't done A Way Out and you think you might do it with someone, you're not going to want to watch that playthrough because it is like a movie. Like, there are some major plot points that happen, and I think it is a lot more fun to experience it through play on its own. It is a mandatory co-op game. You cannot. Well, I suppose if you had like a controller and a keyboard, you could play it. You can play it for yourself. You played it before, but you can't wait to see YouTube. Okay, excellent. Johnny Big Time did the Lord's work on that one. He made me a lot more entertaining than I normally am. But yeah, there's a VOD of it in the Twitch directory, and I'll be uploading it to YouTube as soon as the stream is done tonight. And he was a ton of fun. So I'm gonna guess you can probably figure out who played Leo and who played Vincent. But I'm gonna leave it to your imagination to see how it ended. What else was I gonna say? I was gonna review the position with the Space Dwarves. I just wanted to make sure all the housekeeping and all that was done. Just as far as I'm concerned, a lot of stuff going on at work that I want to make sure gets wrapped up before I take a few days off. I have got 100 irons in the fire, which I am going to try and, clamp those down and, just get some of these projects on my plate finally dealt with. But I'm going to try and not make them too much of an interruption in terms of the game. But in terms of Way Out, it's one of the few streams where it's one of the ones where I say you probably want to check the VOD. I think it carries a little bit better than the solo stuff. That'll be coming up to YouTube at probably around like midnight tonight, and I might do a rerun of it on Friday just because it's a nice long cast, and that way people are used to watching my stuff will at least have something to watch if they can't figure anything else out. Okay, what am I up to? So I am ashamed to admit that I have played Stellaris for so long, I did not realize that there was, that when you did status quo, it's not the war resets. I seem to believe that in some of the old patches of this game, it was that the game, it was an all or nothing. If you took all the planets, you'd have to. And it turns out that settling status quo means that the occupied planets that you have claims on are now yours. That's going to change my playstyle quite a bit, I think. There's two views that I have about this particular empire. In one sense, they're a nice buffer against some really scary enemies that I'll be up against. On the other hand, it's also the case that they are not going to survive. Like, there's no possible way that these people are going to be an independent, they're not going to be independent for too much longer. And so I might sort of want to feast on the corpse of this empire just for a little while longer. So for instance, chopping off this little part to myself with this nice little choke point, and maybe trying to claim some of this area to the north here. Because of course, whoever gets the wormhole here is going to have kind of a direct line into my territory. But the thing is that I already have quite a bit of sprawl, and I'm going to need to find some ways of dealing with that. So one way or the other, I'm not going to be going to war with these guys anytime soon, so I don't need to worry about that right now. The biggest situation that I have at the moment is that I've finally gotten my naval capacity up. which is good news there. It's been it's been a while that I sort of lagged on it, but of course I still need to actually fill the fleets. We've got some people repairing. We're obviously going to be able to, to stack up all of these ships together. But the fact of the matter is that my navy is not where it needs to be. If anything, I mean, number one, I would prefer a naval capacity of about 200. That would allow me to have sort of 2 full-strength fleets. In reality, I probably need more, but at least I can sort of have one to sort of take care of the north, one to take care of the south. These guys are a stagnant ascendancy, so I've got no hope of taking them on. The Engaj nation is almost certainly going to be where I face some enemies. So we can bully anyone we want. Yeah, I'm playing on it feels like this is a harder difficulty than I normally play on, or it just happens that I had a position that was deceptively good, but unfortunately allowed the AI to take advantage of, sort of a lack of conflict. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. The biggest thing that I want to focus on right now is filling up my navy. One of the best ways I can fill up my navy is to actually improve my alloy production. Now this is going to be a slow process, just like the others. I still want to keep some kind of equilibrium as far as my my expansion is concerned. I do want to make sure that I still have a technological edge, but the logic of this right now is that I think the Zithorians just pushed over the edge due to their economic strength. And I believe the Visari were always stronger than me, but as you can see here, it's a really close race, and I believe the Visari are actually the bigger threat technologically, but I'm doing okay, and I think I can still maintain my technological edge over people. But the problem is when I take a look at other nations right now. We've got... Oh, actually, okay, so the Visari are... They're just scary. That's the only way I can put it. Oh, you know what? It's because of all of the the losses that I've taken. Actually, my technological edge isn't quite where it needed to be either, so I need to start being a little more mindful here. Okay, so the aim here is going to be, I want to start building up my capacity in order to improve, basically improve my ability to sort of build things, do upgrades. I'm going to make sure that sort of my, I guess, colonies in a box, as I like to put them, I want to make sure that those are intact. And one of the things that I'm slowly going to be doing is in each of my systems, if not across the Empire, I am going to start slowly shifting my... I'm going to slowly start shifting my my planets towards specialization. So, for instance, we've got an industrial world here. Eventually, what's going to happen is we start unlocking some more of these building slots. I'm going to be putting down more civilian fabricators. I'm going to be upgrading them, and what I can start doing is maybe downgrading civilian fabricators and things like that on other planets. As far as strategic resources are concerned, I'm actually at 0 with rare crystals, so I want to be mindful of that. Anyways, that's going to be the plan. The main thing is I want to try and find a candidate for a world that to focus on alloy production. It might be Ceridon that I wind up doing that with, and that's going to be one of the ways that I can sort of improve my station as far as tech is concerned. As far as military capacity is concerned, while still maintaining tech. Okay, so I need to make a decision about Craxima. So Old Albania, I'm still... Oh, you know what? Old Albania I actually need to start making some decisions on. Bonus to slave output, but I don't think we have any slaves here. So the best thing I can get is Let me just double check this, because I believe there are some modifiers for this system. Yeah, so Ministry of Culture will give a bonus to Unity. So what I want to be doing here is, if I can, build Unity-focused... well, actually, sorry. It's not just... oh, no, it is... yeah, it's just Unities from jobs. Okay, good to know. So essentially what I want to be doing here is I want to be focusing, if I can, on buildings that will that'll generate that Unity so that I can get the % bonus. Second best for me would be something that gets me not just Unity, but Science as well. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any buildings that allow me to do that. So as a second best, I'm just double checking where I'm at. I mean, again, I would love an alloy foundry, but the better thing for me right now is to double down on the... well, it's a tough call, to be honest. I should be focusing on the strengths for the planet, if I'm completely honest. The other thing that I can do... You know what? I'm going to start with an exotic gas refinery, because that's going to allow me to upgrade the... that's going to allow me to upgrade the Hollow Theater. They want volatile motes. Well, I've got quite a few of them, so let's do that as well. That'll give me some jobs to work with. That also kicks the can down the road. Now, Craxima, we've got our crystal mines, we've got our heritage site, we've got a bureaucratic complex. So that was sort of my standard setup, and now what I want to be doing is sort of supporting. I want to sort of be supporting the Empire with this. So we're okay for consumer goods right now. We do have, we're generating more alloys than consumer goods, but you can't fight a war with consumer goods. So in this case, we're going to jump straight to alloys, and then I'll double back. I'll probably build research and then consumer goods afterwards. And the rest, I think, will take care of itself. So, am I ready to unpause? I think I am. I'll be honest with you, I was not expecting to build an exotic gas refinery, but I think that's the better call for this... I think that's the better call for this particular planet. It'll give me 2 exotic gases, so I'll have 1 extra to deal with, which means I can either build another Hollow Theater, or I can focus on another thing that consumes gas. Johnny Big Time, you can kill a man with a stick of salami. Don't tell me what you can and can't do. But can you kill 13 men with a pencil? Okay, looks like Naf Gravas is running into unemployment. Oh, you know what? That's right. We were going to... we're going to distribute the slaves. Okay. Let's... You know what? Actually, what I want to do this for is I want to find planets with surpluses of, like, menial labor. This is not one. Wait, are these the same? Yeah, no, that's fine. There are slug people. We're actually getting pretty used to having slaves on Kabji, so let's get... Actually, I also think I want to redistribute my... Okay, you know what? Let's start, before we go too far, let's just see what species I have. Okay, so the Azizians are proles, so minerals, food, not good at research. Alright. So I can spread them around if I want, but they're not super important. The Andigoj, I mean, they're intelligent, but I don't want to have slaves working in the lab. I'll just double check that there are not any, like, penalties. I'm pretty sure if you're a slave, you get, like, a penalty towards... towards thinking jobs. I was just telling Kite about our session. By the way, guys, I would be remiss not to shout out the man, the myth, the legend himself, Johnny Big Time. I was harassing him on Discord. Johnny and I both have the habit of, like, actually, maybe I shouldn't say, yeah, I won't say this part, but I always like pointing out certain behaviors on like gaming platforms because he and I do the exact same thing. But yeah, Johnny is a hell of a guy. For those of you who haven't watched him yet, you got a chance to see what I'm talking about when I say he is an incredibly talented caster and somebody who I consider myself very lucky to have been able to co-cast with. He is doing The Witcher 3 right now, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does next. Not that, you know, The Witcher is a bad game, but the one thing that I guess the thing that I'm always damn it. I wish there was a way that I could, like, force people into particular jobs. All right. Well, let's get a little of this done right now. So, Cabji needs clerks. Sorry, I can't focus on one thing at a time. I'm quite bad at this. Okay, Ceradon is a good example of this. So 1, 2, 3. And then enough. I almost unemployed the entire population. Okay, so I need to start working on population here. Okay, so one of the things that's really great about Johnny Big Time is that, unlike me and what I just demonstrated there, he's able to keep the action going. He is a hell of a lot of fun to watch. He has got a really great attitude. And it makes him incredibly fun to watch. Like, he's somebody who just really has this gift for keeping the energy level up. He's got a quick wit, and he is just one of these people who seems to have just this ability to turn any topic really entertaining. He could be playing a game that he doesn't enjoy, and I think he would find a way of making it fun. I always like to take the time to shout him out, specifically just because I never know what he's going to do next, but he always winds up surprising in the best possible way. And I've talked a little bit about some of the games that he wants to do on stream, and I always think he's got some great ideas, and I think I'm always a little bit disappointed whenever they don't quite turn out the way, like he winds up doing something else, for instance. But I am always delighted to see what he eventually winds up coming up with. Like, it's never like, oh man, I really wish he kept with like X. It usually winds up being more, oh wow, he wound up doing this thing, which was even better. And so it's one of the reasons why I always like talking about him. He's a ton of fun to watch as far as The Witcher is concerned. But I think one of the things that really drives me to his stream is just his ability he always seems to have the right thing to say in the moment, and he will bring a new perspective to a game that, you know, I might even enjoy, but just to see a Johnny Plays version of a game that I like is always a really special moment. So now there's a side of me that wants to say, you know, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get rid of one, because we don't actually need that many laborers. Wrong one. Oh, I hope I find it. Okay. So I'm just gonna bring one slave in to work the mine. I want you as a technician. It should say some kind of like specific output for this job. Maybe it doesn't matter. Produces 5.4, produces 5.7. Yeah, so this guy's not as good as... Oh, but that, yeah, it's because he's Econo. He's good at making money. All right, there we go. Now you're doing what you're supposed to. Although these guys are also better at mining. That's right. I need to remember that these guys are actually really good at mining, too. Oh, wait, no, so they're not good at making money. I guess it's just because they're slaves. I need to remember how this stuff works, but it's no problem. I kind of screwed it up, Johnny, just because I actually have a bit of a headache. I made sure to get dinner, so that's not the source, but I also need to remember to build stuff here, otherwise I'm going to get in trouble. I really feel like doubling down on generators is the way to go here, so let's get... we'll get 2 jobs, and 1... Actually, I'm going to... Oh, no, 2... 221 is the right way to go. Okay, what else do we have here? Again, actually, yeah, so I'm just going to take a minute here and see if there's any opportunities for me. I think first best is actually to take a look at... So Kabji's a perfect example of a planet like that. Oh, that's right. Well, Kabji's the one where I'm moving all of the slaves. Turns out we got a lot of these guys. I did not realize. But we can bring another slave class in, I guess. It's a tough call because like I can fill this up with even more, and then the clerk jobs get filled up. Let's just see what else we've got here. Okay, well we can definitely put 2 miners in on this. So this will cause building slot to be ruined or cancel the ongoing construction. All right, so let's just see what's going on here. I'm not building anything. So where was this? So this is Tiber. That's so weird. There isn't actually anything on Tiber. Can't be the odd factory. It's the unemployed people who are... Oh, maybe it's the fact that I'll lose this. I think it's because I'm going to go down below 20, so it means I'm going to lose this building. So I suppose that's a question. Do I want to pay that price? think the answer is yes. I think it's probably better for me to focus on the colonies I actually know how to do stuff with. So, yeah, so the game's basically telling me that because I'm not going to have enough pops on Naftravas, I'm going to lose a building. It's a shame, but in the end, these things shouldn't be working on those kinds of those buildings anyway. So in this case, I'm not really losing that much. So in this case, we'll bring 2 guys to work the mines.
Production halted.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened there. We've got the ruins of Hollow Theaters. Can build something new here. So I do traditionally go for things like the Autothon Monument and the Bureaucratic Complex. So I think I will carry on with that, although obviously I would like to continue, or I'd like to start focusing on alloy producing resources if I can. Okay, and now it's really just a matter of like filling in the last little gaps. So we have got 2 workers that I want to get rid of when I can. And they can do clerical work if it comes down to it. But if we can put them to some kind of manual labor, so much the better. So we've got, we guess we can free people up on the farming. So we've got 2 on Riak. Yeah, I think Riak's going to be the... Oh, that's right. Riak and Kabji also needs... Kabji needs some love. And Kabji actually has the most... it has kind of the largest number of slots to fill. So I think we're just going to transplant the rest... the rest of the unemployed slaves into the planet. Okay, we're back in equilibrium. So the drawback here is that because this is an ocean world, the dwarves are not exactly huge fans of this kind of environment. I don't expect there to be a whole lot that gets done on this. I have got huge crime problems that will probably... My suspicion is that it's probably going to wind up resolved, or is more likely to be resolved by the enforcer role being taken up more than anything. The other thing I can focus on is maybe getting some more tasks for the slaves to work on. I don't really need more minerals. This is a good farming planet. Oh, and apparently I don't have enough food. So yeah, we're going to invest in some agriculture here. Possibly even at the expense of mining districts and that, but I'll figure that out later. Okay, with all that in mind, half an hour in, I believe we are actually ready to properly unpause the game now. I wonder what caused the food to drop so dramatically. Because we had a surplus of like 90. Anyways, we've got a ridiculous number of minerals. There's going to be a challenge in terms of turning them into alloys, but that's going to be the focus of the next little while.
Anomalous readings detected.
Something in the Theman system is corrupting some of our sensory data. The source of the irregularity seems to be the planet Themet 6. Okay, so Craxima's done its work. I'm going to do a quick audit of my... Okay, so the capital's going to need some jobs, but it's already working on that. These guys are going to need another job, but that's going to take them to 50, so I'm okay with that. I think at 50 I'm probably going to build... Oh, actually I need to make a decision on this. It is an agro world, so maybe I won't build another science. This is an industry world, so I kind of already know what I'm going to do with that. These guys have got more jobs than what they know what to do with. Oh cool, we're good. These guys, 2 jobs available, and that's still not going to take us up to 30.
Science vessel under assault.
Whoa, what's going on here? Hopefully it survives. Probably not. Okay, they got away. The planet that wasn't there, Theman 6, is not a planet at all, but a sophisticated 3D projection. At its center is a projector that generates an energy field simulating a physical body and a gravity well so convincing that our sensors mistook it for an actual planet, producing the anomalous data. We can only speculate as to why someone would go to the trouble of faking the presence of a planetary body at this location. Sadly, the projector did not survive our experimentation. Strange. Okay. So, they did have an evasive stance. It just seems that they got surprised by the Space Amoeba Hunters, so we'll be able to deal with that when my fleets are ready for an adventure. Again, I still want to be focusing on building the infrastructure where I can and just trying to get myself... Hey, Tall Man Alive. I'm going to be doing my best to just try and plug up some of these gaps before I start expanding out.
Construction complete.
Okay, I was trying to make a decision. Okay, this will go up to 30. Moblar,
Construction complete.
will be taken care of. Recycling campaign is done. That would get me a reduction to consumer goods upkeep. I kind of need that. I don't know when I'm going to need... that's such a tough one. I hope I don't need to renew one of these contracts, otherwise I'm going to have to sell a lot of precious stuff. Okay. Why does Kabji have so many jobs available? And they're growing more slaves. It's the last thing I need. Craxima's doing what I need. Riak. Right, it was... No, Riak's going to go up to 26. Where was the one that didn't have the quantity I needed? Okay, so they'll go to 10, they'll go to 26, they'll go to 22. Right, okay, this is the one that I needed to focus on. So, what have we got right now? Clerk jobs aren't filled. So we get to 22, we're going to have clerks and everything. Honestly, at this point, 24 and 26. It's not the most exciting choice, but it's the one that'll get us to the next level. Okay. The thing is about energy is, if in the worst case scenario, I just use the energy to buy the things that I need.
Discourse anticipated.
Trade deal offer. This diplomatic proposal. Okay. The Akano Nation wants to give me 7,320 just for being me. And apparently it's superior. That's awesome. The Space Dwarves graciously accept your gift. See? These guys aren't so tough. Can actually put that money to good use.
Scientific progress attained.
Maybe we'll take that nice gesture and we'll use it to build fleets of death. All right. Administrative capacity plus 20. Multiple administrative strata efficiently surface only the multiple administrative strata efficiently surface only the most vital information to the upper levels of government. So, lots of expensive tech, and I need to pick. Ecological adaptation is a really tempting one because it will allow me to transform. So normally I don't like doing the long form ones, but this is going to be a big bonus to me. Clone army would be nice, but I think this is going to be one that helps me quite a bit in terms of like happiness and costs. So essentially what I'm going to wind up doing with this terraforming is, for planets like Okul, I'm going to be able to terraform them. It's going to cost me energy credits, but what I'm going to get in return is better happiness, which means it's going to cost me less in terms of resources. A tattered old observation post circles Fleistia 1, but there are no signs of intelligent life on its surface. Closer investigation may give us the answer as to why. Okay, so this construction ship is sitting idle, which makes me sad. One next step, too, I eventually want to take out the Spectre, but that's going to be a longer-term mission. Revelations. Our research crew in the orbit of Riak Prime has made a series of fascinating breakthroughs regarding the planet's strange sea of consciousness. The crew has described the planetary sea as a psionic entity. Its seemingly incorporeal state, in fact, belies a complex and coherent quantum wave structure, approximating a massive neural network unlike any other on record. The crew's research has led to astounding insights into psionic theory and deepened our understanding of the interaction of quantum states and consciousness. We have now access to a field of scientific discovery hitherto unimagined in the Akano High Kingdom, and we have gained psionic
Together,
theory.
we will build a brighter future.
So monthly unity plus 5%. The mind is in many ways a reflection of the universe itself, a microcosmos. All species may not reach this insight, but their minds are tools greater than any other. So we can be the psychic space dwarves if it comes down to it. Again, fairly high priority to get the naval capacity filled up, but at the moment I'm going to be focusing on getting my ships back and built the way I want them to be. Long-range mineral scanners, mining station output plus 10%. Increased scanner range will allow us to more quickly identify mineral concentrations and focus our mining efforts there. So I'm not sure. I believe this will give me a bonus to energy as well. We'll see. And again, I am spoiled by choice. Mineral purification hubs are sort of tempting because they give me a bonus to minerals, which eventually will be turned into alloys, but we're not at that point yet. So I either get a bonus to defense platform hull points, which I'm going to need to get at some point, or I go for the next level of consumer goods. I think I'm going to go for the cheap stuff, because at some point I'm going to need to get this stuff worked out. Okay, more upgrades. So first of all, we can change this to a planetary capital. That should give me... We've got housing amenities, 2 administrator jobs. I will get 1 extra administrator job. So that'll take us to 44. I need at least 1 other job. And this is a perfect example of a world that I actually want to start building more civilian industries on. So I have the bonus for the energy grid and all of that, and that's just because I want to have some like basic level of resource production. But this is like my home worlds are exactly where I want them to be. Like, they're focusing on industry. What I can start doing actually is I can start decommissioning industrial sites on other planets once I'm sort of where I need to be here, and I can start focusing on things that will give me bonuses towards industrial applications. I'm not crazy about the fact that I've got this research complex here, which also has a bonus, but I mean, I got to do something with the time, right? But yeah, well, I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole, but this is a great example of a world where I want it to be. So actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick moment here. I've been keeping a log of the types of fleets that I want. Where were we? Right. So I'm going to call my capital my Unity world. It's a little bit of everything, but... so this is a consumer goods... Oh no, sorry, this is food. Okay, so this is shaping up to be... So Kabji originally was going to be a consumer goods world, but I'm starting to think that now maybe I'm going to focus them on alloys. Especially because actually Okul is an industrial world as well, so that seems to make a little more sense. Now, of course, there is a perfectly good question as to whether or not I need 2, but at the moment I'm on a deficit of consumer goods, so I'm going to say yes to that for now. Ceradon is currently a rural world, so Ceradon is either going to be a science or... They're going to be a science or an alloy world, and I'm not 100% sure which. Portal research area? I think that answered my question for me. Dimensional portal researcher. So that probably won't wind up getting the same bonuses as some of the other ones here. But let's say for the time being that Ceradon becomes a research world. So what I would do here, when the time comes, I'd say that this becomes a tech world, and in this case, the researcher upkeep goes down. One thing I could do, if I was so inclined, is I could actually take a look at what my largest expenses are in this on this planet. I believe I could get it here. So upkeep. Yeah, so if I take a look at this, it's the culture workers that are currently taking up the highest amount of consumer goods. But I tend to prefer to design these. These signifiers are as much of an indicator to me about where I should be. Actually, you know what? Here's another thing I need to be thinking about. I shouldn't just be focusing on whether or not I can turn some of these worlds into research worlds. I should actually be thinking about whether or not I can turn this into a research system. So yeah, we could easily transform this into a science world from a mining world. Ceradon, we said, was going to be a science world anyway. Moblar, we have no indication whatsoever as to what they are. Now, okay, so good news is they've got Titanic life. Bad news is they actually have a lot of natural resources that I would want to take over. Is now the time for me to... Why not? Okay, so let's say... Let's imagine for a moment that the Kabji system becomes a science district. So now we've got the frontier, which makes things a little bit harder for me. So Riak, Tybur... I don't think any of these people are going to wind up in a system anytime soon. Our best... Yeah, honestly, it's going to be these worlds. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay keeping these individual worlds as others, so... So this is a tricky one just because this is rather well focused towards energy. But the nice thing here is, of course, rural worlds take care of everything. Riak farming, sure. We can also set it up as an agro world, but it's not currently getting the bonus there, so... And then Tybur is unquestionably an alloy world. Okay, so I know that's a little tedious to go through, but that I've got that all written down, so I know what to do in the future. At some point, I'm going to need to figure out what to do, what else to do with this system. Ah, we're actually short on housing, so that's the answer. Titanic life. The native life of Mublar Prime is built on an epic scale, far larger than anyone previously thought was possible for biological life. The question now in the minds of our researchers is, what is their secret and can we benefit from it? Proposals to study the native life in greater detail are flooding in. Okay, so first thing, where is Mublar? So we'll keep the army on standby. Proceed with the study, no leave the giants alone, or study them, harvest them and see if there's anything useful. That's really funny. Issue special project Titanic Life, Necropsies Delicious Titans modifier added, giving the following effects: max agriculture districts +8, food from jobs +30%. That is fantastic. This is this idea that there are cows that are the size of buildings, and we just have a massive barbecue on the world, but in this case we will study them. I know we're xenophobes,
Syslog
but...
updated.
Okay. Oh right, I don't need to check that out because we don't own it yet. But my science ship is back. So let's get you to heal first, and then we'll send you off onto other adventures.
Together we will build a brighter future.
Applied quantum physics. Physics research from researchers +20%. The seemingly erratic behavior of tiny things can dramatically alter the way we think about bigger things. So again, I try where I can to go for things which have lower costs. I would love to do advanced research complexes, but as it is, I'm a bit constrained as far as exotic gases are concerned right now, so what I'm going to do instead is take advanced combat roles. This is just going to be an investment in my military at this point. Slowly but surely we're building back up our alloys. The first thing I am going to need to do is to improve the Grand Herald fleet, and then we'll build that up to strength, and then we'll start working on our second fleet. Through hard work and experience, Crown Princess Murg Jones has developed new skills. She has got the Explorer trait. Logistic Understanding, Expansionist, and Explorer. Curator Research Aid. The agreement that we signed giving you access to our databanks has run its course. Would you like to extend it for another 10 standard years, or do your researchers no longer require the information that we offer? We would like to extend the deal for a princely 5,000. Excellent. Our databanks shall remain available to your scientists.
System resources analyzed.
So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to buy alloys as long as I'm at 5k. So abandoned observation post. All the observation post data storage units have been wiped, and extensive care has been taken to eliminate any evidence that could lead back to its owners. Something clearly went wrong with Flestia 1. The only signs of intelligent life are the crumbling husks of half-finished megacities, seemingly abandoned mid-construction, scattered across the surface, and the looming hollow temple in their midst. So we can investigate or leave. We will always investigate.
Updated.
I'm also going to do something that I don't normally do here. So let's just take a moment. So I'm going to need 5,000 energy. Curator Insight. So that's 10 years. You know what, I'm just going to go to the desktop calculator here. I have enough of a headache that I can't do this effectively in my head. Okay. Okay, so... Okay. So I'm going to say I'm going to cap my energy production at 106, and I'm going to use the surplus of I'm going to use the surplus of of 23 to buy alloys each turn. So what are they at right now? 1236. Okay, so I basically get 3. We'll go for it now. I built a 30% contingency in specifically to deal with this eventuality. Also, again, I've got 1.6 to play with right now, so I'll just get a cool 125 right now.
Construction finalized. System resources analyzed.
Okay, so we have a little extra housing, but the fact of the matter is this isn't going to last us very long, so let's do one more district. If I want, I can actually undo some of our mining districts for more living space, but that's also going to mean I need to find some more jobs for these people.
Construction finalized. System resources analyzed.
I'm not sure what I was supposed to build here, but I'm glad I've got it.
Special inquiry concluded.
Of course, there's an important thing that I need to remember here too, which is that I've got a lot of robots working here. So in the worst case scenario, I can always start shipping off some of the robots in favor of other worlds. The Grey Tempest, for all their efforts at secrecy, traces of the Observer's clumsy meddling are everywhere on Flestia 1. Evidence suggests that the planet was inhabited by a psionically linked consciousness of planetoids that were in the midst of a religious awakening. When a The Eyes of Sin, it's lovely to see you. I'm sorry I'm starting so late. I'd like to pretend that every sub gets the same treatment in that, but seeing that The Eyes of Sin is 1 month away from being subbed for me for 2 years in a row, you know, people like Kite, you know, getting a chance to see Kite come into the channel and resub, Johnny. There's definitely some people which it just completely warms my heart to see them come in. By the way, I totally blew my my target for energy credits, but that's fine. We'll still be good. But The Eyes of Sin, I think especially because I have a little bit of an idea in terms of just all of the demands on her, just in terms of attention and how much I take and don't necessarily give back. It is always a very unique and a very sweet moment to see that little support, whether I get a chance to see that charming wave emote that she designed, whether it's a kind word in the channel or just a, you know, a quick, just a quick word in terms of something on Discord or that. The Eyes of Sin has a very rare and sometimes very necessary, because I don't like talking about my gloom a lot. I used to do that a bit on the Surviving Mars streams and that, but I have needed a kind word a little bit more often than I normally do for a while. And The Eyes of Sin has been very good at providing that. And I don't know if I ever do a very good job of expressing exactly or what that means, or just, you know, how impactful her presence and her sort of her care has been. But The Eyes of Sin is definitely somebody who makes me very happy every time that I see her come into. Oh, you didn't? I'm sorry, Sin. I didn't realize that was. I didn't realize that was not one of yours. You made the other. Okay, that was my bad. I apologize. I always thought that one was yours. But, anyways, thank you for being you. I hope you had a good day. Did you get a chance to draw tonight? I hope that isn't like an imposing question, but. For those of you who don't know, The Eyes of Sin has got a lovely blog full of art and I like to remind people of it because I still like visiting that website and looking at the stuff. Hey, nice. What did you draw? The Grey Tempest. For all their efforts at secrecy, traces of the observer's clumsy meddling are everywhere on Fleistia 1. Evidence suggests that the planet was inhabited by a psionically linked consciousness. Sorry, I need to read this again. Consciousness of plantoids that were in the midst of a religious awakening when the mysterious alien race, referred to as the Gatekeepers, descended upon them without warning. You're not a true Stellaris player unless you have 2,000 hours in it. The Gatekeepers. Descended on them without warning. From that point on, the plants became obsessed with the idea of an impending apocalyptic event called the Grey Tempest. Their formerly peaceful religion soon spiraled into a suicide cult. Within a matter of months, one of the galaxy's most ancient life forms had wilted away for fear of a doomsday that would never come, despite repeated attempts at forced rehydration. What a mess. That still makes me happy to hear that you're doing it, Sin. I mean, it's... I like, if I was there and just somebody who had no idea about boundaries, I would like be sitting down with my writing crop and like, nope, this is time for art, and you are going to draw, and you're going to draw with pencil and pen, and it doesn't matter how bad you feel, you're going to practice, and it's going to be great. But I just really like that you're taking the opportunity to express yourself. So. Oh, actually, here's a fun fact about the Eyes of Sin, and I'm going to let her decide whether or not she wants to share this. Although, in fairness, I believe the Eyes of Sin probably has more clever ideas about what to do with a writing crop than I do. But the Eyes of Sin, I actually got to share a little something with her from my growing up, something that I used to watch. The Eyes of Sin quite likes Tom Lehrer, and I'd never thought I would run into another individual who knew who this guy was. So I shared a pianist that I'm quite fond of. I don't know if you got a chance to see the video or not, but if you would like to keep that as your secret until you see it, that's yours to keep. And if you want to share it with people, that's also yours to give away. So, oh, I'm glad you liked it. I have something quite a bit more substantial that I can share with you if you'd like. The material composition of this asteroid differs significantly from its neighbors. It likely has a different origin other than bodies of this asteroid belt and should be investigated more closely.
Construction complete.
It's obviously not like it. You would not immediately associate that with Tom Lehrer, but I just think sort of the musicality and the sense of humor made me think that it was something that you might appreciate. So I'm glad that I'm not completely off base in terms of your tastes. Junk Ball, the ISS Jal Kolpo crew report what first appeared to our scanners as an asteroid is in fact a gigantic floating ball of junk, comprised of the broken remains of various vehicles, rockets, and hazardous materials, many of them radioactive. The junk ball seems to be the detritus of an unknown alien nation in the early space age. It would appear that this nation was an interstellar litterer, ejecting dangerous industrial waste into orbit rather than disposing of it planetside. Radiometric dating suggests that these remains are millions of years old and have been floating through space from an unknown point of origin for most of that time. Science Officer Gannett Kapp notes that some of the materials found in this floating junk heap were quite rare and could be refined into useful resources. So we get minor artifacts, and apparently we can get alloys from this system if we chose to claim it. And it's actually within sort of my sphere of influence, so... Elgate Insights. It was not immediately apparent at the time, but the recent survey carried out by the ISS Jal Kolpos seemingly sparked a breakthrough in the ongoing study of the mysterious Elgates when the report filtered back to the scientific community of Old Alvania.
Special inquiry concluded.
Titanic life study success. After a period of research and study, the scientists on Moblar Prime have managed to make a breakthrough and achieve limited communications with some of the Titans. While huge, slow, and difficult to talk to, the Titans are incredibly tough and strong. Some few have expressed a giant desire to join our military forces, where they will undoubtedly be an incredible asset. Oh my god. Okay, so we got the space dwarves in their stone ships, and they are now riding Titanic beasts. We are going to recruit as many of these things as I can. So, Titanic Beast, damage 5.62 to 11.25, morale damage 1125 to 2250, enormous collateral damage, 1000 health, 600 morale. Research breakthroughs have enabled us to train Titanic life forms into military units, but due to the rarity of suitable subjects, we will only be able to field a limited number of these armies at the time. Apparently I can only recruit 3, but I'm happy enough with that. All you need are those twirly ballistas from the Hobbit. You're the real doors now. How you doing, Eric Loftus? I'm sure Johnny is incredibly happy with this this turn of events. Speaking of, it's not that far away now that I would be able to upload the way out stream, but I'm gonna wait a little bit on that. Okay, science ship is healed up, so let's figure out what I want to do with them. Let's keep exploring. So we're gonna go to L4 for... Actually, you know what? Let's explore the wormhole while we're there. So if there's still space amoeba in the area, we won't go through there. If there aren't, then we'll take a peek. Dwarfs on Giant Beast sounds like a glorious sight. It will be a glorious sight once I get a navy sort of that's able to handle the bad guys. We're a bit banged up at the moment.
Construction complete.
Oh, they've just been sitting around like bumps on a log. That's a tremendous shame. Alright, the Grand... I was wondering why it was taking so long. The Grand Herald and friends are finally getting much needed repairs. Maybe we'll consider upgrading them too, but one thing at a time. I suppose I technically don't need to put the army on the Titanic Beast planet anymore, but this is one Titanic Beast. So my transport fleet, like 9 of my units is 263. One of the Titanic Beasts is 166. This is a glorious sight. All right. I am glad that it does not take me years to repair my ships. So first things first, we're going to kick out the Herald. And this is so the Grand Herald fleet can get some upgrades in. And then I'm going to start building ships to get us back to capacity. And I seem to believe... I used to have some write-ups for this, but...
Anomalous readings detected.
Sensor echoes have indicated the presence of some kind of unidentified object deep within the atmosphere of this gas giant. Construction's kind of continuing at the rate that I want it to, so that's good news there. We've obviously got a new front. It was kind of tempting to try and claim this because of the crystals, but in this case I sort of made my... I decided to make my stand here in Tybor rather than try to build another
System resources
another forward station. Alright, Rurius has got some spare room, so they're my agri world. I suppose the follow-up question is, after agriculture, is there something that I want to put down here? Because technically, I mean, I can really fill whatever other jobs I want at this point. Do we have a slave population? We do. So that's the obvious step for now. We might even want to change the composition so that we have only slaves working on our farms. Now the challenge here is that I'm going to need to come up with other jobs because I don't believe this produces any work. So we're going to need 2 more. In this case, I think generator districts make the most sense. That'll give me a little housing, and it'll also give me some extra energy, which of course I'll buy alloys with. Crushed cruiser. The shattered remnants of a cruiser-sized starship can be detected in a decaying orbit deep inside the atmosphere of Uzmazra 7. It appears to have ventured far into the gas giant's atmosphere, perhaps in a desperate attempt to escape a pursuer, only to be crushed by the atmospheric pressure. The vessel is too deep to be salvaged, but a structural scan of the wreckage has provided us with some interesting engineering data. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to build a special building on the capital. I'm not sure what yet. It'll probably be a holo theater. I might even go for it now, to be completely honest. Yeah, why not? What else was I thinking of? Yeah, so maybe Rurius, I'll start putting down some extra science as well. I'll think about that a little bit, but seeing as it's already an agro world, but that doesn't mean I can't give it sort of like a secondary service as a research hub or I mean, it can also be an alloy foundry. I'll deal with that later, though, I think. By the way, I know it's a little smaller crowd tonight because of the late start, but I do want to take a minute and say thank you very much for still coming along. Obviously, when I get to a certain point of being this late, I kind of doubt as to whether or not it's even worth going on. So again, like it's one of these. I've always sort of taken the view that if sort of the statement is like, well, I'm not sure if people are going to show up, so I'm not going to stream. You should probably stream, because not streaming is not going to be a way that people all of a sudden say, oh, so-and-so hasn't streamed in a while, guess I'll go visit their cast. That's not exactly how that works. I forgot we can actually make some more worlds to terraform, so it might be an idea for me to actually save some more money now that I think of it. That makes me sad, but I am going to cancel... I'm going to cancel our alloy purchases just because I actually need that money for something else. But yeah, with that in mind, it does help me, especially in light of the fact that I know this about myself, having some people show up and especially interact at a time when I'm not necessarily feeling like God's gift to broadcasting really does help keep me going, so... okay, improve structural integrity. A reinforced framework and blast shields with enhanced impact absorption will ensure the structural integrity of the platform even under immense pressure. So, again, I think we're going to go for cheap tech. It's super tempting to go for living metal, but I think we're just going to go for whatever military advancements we can pick up. Oh, that's right. At some point, I need to figure out how I'm going to redesign my fleet. So I actually probably didn't need to do this this ship upgrade because
construction complete.
I'm going to redesign it. Like, I think right now the designs that I'm working on will automatically lose against the Andagoj Nation, who are really the only people that I'm going to be coming up against. Yep. It's all anti-ballistic. And I don't think they have any bad guys in range anymore. Let's use the raiders as an example. Okay, well these guys actually are pretty heavy on ballistic. Hey, no problem, Kite. If you do get a chance to watch the Way Out stream, I would love your opinion on it. Both as somebody who I think is really good at co-op casts, but just also as someone who I who I like and respect the opinion of.
System resources analyzed.
Oh yes. So as far as any ideas of like some kind of a birthday stream or something like that go, I have been thinking a little bit. So like it would be a Monday, so that would mean Stellaris. But I am a little curious, especially if there is a game that that I've done and I haven't finished yet. If I were to do like a special broadcast for that, is there some kind of like crowd pleaser or other form of like, oh god, I really hope he does X kind of game that I can please you, the crowd, with? I realize like it's kind of up to me to decide what I wind up broadcasting, but I am a little curious as to whether or not I can surprise and delight people with that. Or of course something that I've streamed before and you'd just really like to see me do again, but I have a feeling that probably people would like to see stuff that I've started but haven't completed, because I have some ideas as to what would be a good fit in that case. But I don't know, I sort of feel like if I'm going to do a special cast, I should do something that people find interesting. Could do a live version of the Elder Scrolls playthrough.
Upgraded.
Okay, good news there. We're up to date, although apparently we're already out of date on one of them.
Ships upgraded.
Okay, as is my way, I'm going to take another minute and see where we're at. So I would want 2 battleships, which I don't believe I currently have in the fleet. I would want 4 cruisers, which we have. Wait a minute. This is for 80. These numbers don't add up. Okay, so 12 cruisers doesn't make any sense. There we go. Okay, so I'm counting the interdictor and the cruiser as the same. 8 destroyers, which is where I wanted that to be. 1 raider. So I've got a surplus of corvettes? Am I doing this wrong? Okay, 66. So there should be 2 battleships in this as well. Those 2 battleships should have another 16 weight, which would bring this up to 82. That's not the way it's supposed to go. So the funny thing is I've got too many corvettes but that still doesn't explain... Okay, so there should be the Grand Herald, which takes up 16. Okay, actually, so I've got 2 Phantom battleships which don't exist right now, so that's 16 accounted for. I want 4 cruisers, which should be a total of 16. So between the cruisers and the interdictor, I've got 16. So that should be 32 on its own. Then I add 8 destroyers, which should be 16. That's 16 on its own. And then I add 16 corvettes, which I actually have 18 of, but let's just take the 16 on its own. So that should mean I have 64. No, I don't have 64 because I'm missing the 60. But no, that's fine because I just replaced the battleships with the Grand Herald. So the total amount should be 60. Oh no, that's right. Okay, it's 64 plus the extra corvette and the extra raider. Never mind, I'm just a dummy. Okay. So let's work this out again. Let's go for... I feel like I need more screening ships, but I'm gonna build these little side fleets. And I guess I should start thinking a bit more about how I... See, this is the real dilemma, is I don't actually have any intelligence on how they're set up. So they're definitely heavy on shield tech, they're weak on armor. So... Really? UV laser and the energy siphon. So I think... Gotta think about this. No, I think this makes sense. So we put a barrier point defense down here. The energy siphon is gonna take down the shield. Well, okay, so this actually isn't the craziest solution that they've got here. This is a 100% shield damage. So average damage of 346, which is going to translate to about 692, let's say. And then on the flip side, this is going to do a bonus to armor damage, so 361 plus the bonus, which is going to translate to something in the neighborhood of like 642 or something like that. So no, I can see the logic behind this. I think I'm going to keep its default setup there. Now, the big problem that I have is the armor. So we're still going to put some armor in place, but I definitely prefer the idea of doubling up shields and then focusing on armor rather than the other way around. And then what else are we going to do here? So we've got sublight speed and evasion. We've got better power generation. We've got improved chances to hit. And we've got bonuses to shield points. I sort of feel like evasion would probably be the... And we don't have enough power because I suck. I forgot there's a limit. If I ditch the afterburners, does that help me? Nope. It's close. That's why they hammered the armor. Okay. I still want to focus on shield capacity, so this is going to cost me... This has to use, like, a boatload of power. So let's say axe the afterburners. Yeah, a lot of power usage for that combo. So instead... also, they're currently set up as swarm, despite that they're pickets. So yeah, so we're gonna, if it's gonna be a picket ship, it's gonna be a proper picket ship. So now we need to think a little bit about the range that these things get. So autocannon is definitely for close encounters. Yeah, that's actually, in retrospect, those are some very creative choices on the part of the AI, it looks like. Okay, so actually these things take the same amount of power. I'm not going to be able to... Well, there's still... That's still not enough. Okay, so we put a railgun in place. I've got 8 power to kick around with. The thing is, I don't want to lose any of these abilities. I mean, maybe refitting this thing just with one shield is the way to go. I'm not crazy about it because it means that there's just that much more. I mean, the other thing that I can do is I can get rid of the obsolete components restriction. We can say improve deflect. Nope, that's still... Even deflectors are gonna... Okay. If I killed the afterburners, what are we looking at? Yeah, so it's the afterburners that sink me. But evasion is... I mean, 70% evasion. So what are we looking at here? It's a difference of 20... Okay, all ships can evade attacks, avoiding any damage that would have been dealt. The evasion chance can be increased by thrusters and other components, but larger ships benefit less. So yeah, this is actually a really tricky question. So does the so we get 65 for shields, which effectively is probably a little bit closer to something like 90, because they are laser heavy. And then another 5% to evasion sort of applies to my overall survivability, but then that's also going to be related to, like, tracking, I think. Ugh. This is an ugly question. And apparently I'm still not allowed to... So for some reason I can't save it. Auto design takes control. I don't want to take control. I'd like to... Okay, so if I hit autocomplete... 10% to 85. Yeah, I don't think that... Okay. Let's just compare these two. these two. Slightly less damage. I mean, in terms of overall shields... Yeah, like, I totally see now why the AI does not like this design. Let's try that, I guess. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to do this for all of these. Okay, well, what's it gonna cost? Oh, okay, these guys can actually afford the extra. That's good news then. Okay, so these guys are set up as a picket, but I don't think that's right, so... range 60 and 50, but the UV laser asks for close encounters. Also, we said we wanted more kinetic weapons. So, let's say... Railgun for 50, yeah, let's change that out. Do you want the plasma thrower or the railgun? The thing I'm not crazy about, or no, actually, sorry, this is the right combination. So, 100% armor damage, 50% hull damage. 50% shield damage minus to armor damage. Range of 60, so average 729, average 380. I guess the question then is why would you ever not go for a plasma thrower? Oh wait, but this is a size difference, that's why. Okay, so 290 versus 3... Okay, so the railgun is actually the stronger of the two weapons. So that actually raises the question as to whether or not I want the plasma thrower on this side of the ship or the other. So let's say rail gun here, plasma thrower on the intercept side. And comparing it to the base model... So we have more shooty. This seems to be an improvement in everything except speed. But I'm okay with that. Okay, slouching on to Bethlehem. Cruiser. Similar story here. So line tactics, if I want them at the same range as the comrades, alternatively they can become artillery ships. So apparently these guys are not bringing out swarms of... Could I have you bring out swarms of fighters? That's kind of what your job is. Okay, medium range and hold formation, or long range and just lob. Okay. Broadside bow and stern. I'm sort of liking the combos here, but maybe there's something better we can do. Oh, this is a range 10, so like these guys are gonna have to get in close. Yeah, I probably didn't think this through, actually. Okay, well, let's go back to what the game had before, which was a broadside. Okay, so first thing we got to do is, again, clear out the clear out the shield nonsense. And then the remaining question really is, do I want such heavy... Yes, I do actually want such heavy shield focus. So knowing that this is all medium, we've got 909 versus 729. And the shields are already dealt with, so we will replace all the plasma throwers with UV lasers. We still have a huge surplus of energy. This is a little nerve-wracking, but I am willing to live with it. So then I guess the last question is, how far do I want these guys engaging? We can get 90 and 60. I guess the next question too is there any other range 90 stuff that we can throw at them? Not really. So line tactic, yeah, we can't go artillery, so sure. It's really debatable as to whether or not I actually want to be getting things like... I feel like auxiliary fire control is better than the shield capacitors. I mean, it's a 20% bonus, but... Okay, so comparing these two... more damage, lower cost. They're not like the best ships in the world, but they're going to stop me from dying immediately to the enemy, so... and now what I suspect I'm going to have to deal with is... Oh, crap. Yeah. So now I gotta retrofit everybody. Although maybe I'll get some refunds. I should probably have put a little more thought into the way that my fleets work right now, but...
System resources analyzed.
I don't want this to be an entire fleet design.
Construction complete.
Essentially what I am doing with this design is I am getting rid of the reliance on 100% armor that the AIs currently put into the ship design. So while it's suboptimal in some respects, it's going to be something that gives me a fighting chance against these other fleets. No, it may turn out like we go into a fight and we just get absolutely crushed because I don't actually know how much shield damage they can put out. But in the end, even in that worst case scenario, we're still putting up longer resistance. And I think one of the most important things that I need to deal with my current fleets are that So the Grand Herald is a really powerful sort of opponent to go up against, but it will be completely overwhelmed by smaller ships. So the survivability of my intercepting ships is sort of key. It's actually why I'm sort of debating as to whether or not I really want to build that many more cruisers. Okay, lost to bureaucracy. Due to a major clerical error, parts of Mublar Prime have fallen behind in infrastructure maintenance and accommodation services. The people live in rather bleak conditions and will not tolerate it for long. Remedying these problems will cost us time and effort. So we pay 500 energy, we lose 100 influence, which is not ideal, but we do gain 1,000 unity, so I'm going to go for it. New tradition time. Okay, so domination. We can improve our governor level cap, which will increase my ruler level cap, or we will do judgment core enforcement. Enforcers will reduce crime, which is pretty important right now. And then we can move on to improved resource output from workers and slaves. So this is the pretty obvious option here. Judgment Core. Sprawling cities and isolated mining stations both have unique challenges associated with crime prevention. To expedite law enforcement, we have made the judicial process more efficient by combining the roles of judge, jury, and enforcer. This reminds me of something. Can't quite put my finger on it, though. So let's see if we get a nice big surplus of alloys. Who died? Jurg Taras. Alright. I can definitely afford a new one. They're getting a bit expensive just because of my sprawl. So this is going to be somebody who's going to be on a science ship for the better part. And so they're eager, so they cost a lot less. Ridiculous compared to the others. They're young. So the drawback is I don't start with a specialization, but we've got people filling up our labs for a while now. So I'm happy to have this guy do their standard work. I also never saw where Elor went. So Elor actually gives me some possibilities in terms of, oh, this is great actually. So let's, we have no way to reach this project? Okay, well. Ah, they've closed the oh, that's a shame. I thought we got along with these guys. Maybe if I open my borders, they'll be more. We're actually in a defensive pact, but apparently have closed borders. All right, fine, you can come in. I shouldn't have assumed that my ally. Okay, there we go. In the interest of promoting the liberalization of trade across the galaxy, the Kenti Trade Union will now open its borders to you. Now, if I want to go to war with these guys, I have an opportunity to expand through this wormhole and sort of brush up against their border and sort of take them unawares. It's still going to be complicated to defend this territory, but it does give me some opportunities in terms of trying to weaken them enough to be able to try and vassalize them. It's a possibility, but we'll see whether or not I take it.
Construction complete.
Okay. Oh! Oh, Jesus. Okay. I thought I just disbanded it. We'll merge everybody up.
Construction complete.
Okay. So, again, we're just kind of getting rid of the last little holes in our empire. The autonomous repurposer is probably going to be a source of blockage for a while. Feldazir 1 ethic changes. There has been a sweeping change in the ways of the primitive Lavis since we began aggressively observing members of their species all over Feldazir 1. Their hatred of our abduction shuttles has made them extremely mistrustful of anything they consider foreign, while at the same time strengthening the bonds they feel towards their own culture and species. Interesting. They're becoming racists like us. I'm a little curious what'll happen with this military power once the upgrade's done. I kind of think it'll go up because our attack has gone up, but I'm now realizing too how much the changes to power supplies have altered the way that fleet construction goes. Like, it actually does make sense to have less powerful technology in your ships, because it can mean the difference between having more, more protection for shields. And I think at some point I'm going to need to sit down and think about what those limitations are, just so that I can try and figure out like what the
Our research has progressed.
like what the enemy is going to be working with. It also means I'm going to start putting more research into power generators. Okay, advanced combat roles. Further advances in predictive algorithms allow for augmented tactical decision making in the field. So that's going to be an upgrade. Research station output seems a little weak, but not terrible. Incidentally, I feel like the planetary shield generators, so the orbital bombardment damage I haven't really experienced that much, so maybe I'm a little pessimistic on this. I feel like this is a pretty severe nerf to this building. Like, you used to get physics research out of this, now you just protect yourself from orbital bombardment. And I suppose, if they continue the bombardment long enough, it doesn't matter that there's a 50% reduction. But it may be that I just haven't realized the proper benefit for this yet. Anyways, the cheapest option is autonomous station protocols, so I'm gonna run with that.
Ships upgraded.
Okay, so we're at 6.2, and then we have another upgrade option. So I'm gonna take a quick moment here just to make sure that the fleet designer hasn't done anything crazy. Oh my god. At least my destroyers get the upgrade. Yeah, so power needs to be like the #1 priority. And we did get a nice solid boost to our alloys. So what I'm going to do now, we'll take the Grand Herald. Oh, I can't until... oh no, this is the
Together
fleet
we will
manager.
build a brighter future.
So where are we at? Corvettes. Okay, so let's just say this is like an artificial cruiser here. So we'll do 2 more destroyers. And we had... I think this is telling me lies that I've got 16 Corvettes. Why does it say I've got 17 out of 15 for Corvette? Oh no, because that's the fleet design. Okay. Okay, so I did 1 cruiser, 2 destroyers, so we should be up to 20. Then we add the... Okay, I'm gonna live with that for now. It's not the tidiest setup that I've got.
Upgraded.
Let's just hit the reinforced fleet and hope all hell doesn't break loose. Ah yes, we've also got tech. So, ecological adaptation. By adapting planetary ecosystems to large-scale environmental changes, we can turn terraformation into a less disruptive process. So... Cyto revitalization centers is my cheapest option, but also the lamest. It's actually very tempting to do regenerative hull tissue right now, even though that will wreak havoc with my plans. Also, naval capacity improvements. Let's do Cyto revitalization just because it'll give me another kick of the can, but... Presumably this is just cranking out everything. I'm not going to bother counting this all, but... Okay, so I'm going to go window shopping for terraforming. What did I say I was going to do with Okul? I think Okul was going to become a proper industrial world. even though Ushimara.
Scientific
Well,
progress attained.
Nah, it still makes sense. Okay, swarmer missiles. These smaller missiles are launched in volleys and have been specifically designed to overwhelm enemy point defense systems. Again, if I have any electronics upgrades, I want to focus on those where I can. I don't have any of those, so now I can say city district housing if I feel that I'm getting a little cramped. I am, but not enough to pass up better robots. So droids it is. Kabji, I will put another point in...
Anomalous readings detected.
A small space station of some kind has been built in a stable orbit around this asteroid. It appears deserted. I feel a little weird about this one, though. No, hang on. Okul was going to be the... Oh, that... Okay, Kabji's a brand new one. Okay, so this one was going to wind up being the alloy world. Better still, let's just switch you... Forge World. The heat of the alloy foundries can be felt almost everywhere on this planet. So there's a couple of other like surplus buildings that I want to... Oh wait, but with that... Okay. No, this was going to become a science world. Okay, so first thing, we're going to upgrade that building. We're short on amenities, so we're actually just going to... We're going to chill. Tech world, my bad. Alright. Alien entity identified. A tubular alien entity has entered orbit of Craxima Prime with no warning or explanation. It appears to be moving without engines or thrusters, gliding in complete silence through the void of space, cylinders rotating ominously. Though it has yet to display any signs of aggression, it refuses to acknowledge our hails. Our military advisors warn that it may pose a considerable threat to the inhabitants below and implore us to engage in neutralization protocols. Our scientists, however, plead that we instead learn from this remarkable piece of technology. So I would be very tempted to destroy it, but I don't actually have a military to do that right now, so we will study it.
Ship log updated.
7 months, I can deal with that, I think. And where's my science ship? I think we'll just get him on the last couple of alien species before we go too far. Really? You need to be told to... Go with God. I still kind of don't trust the Titan world, so this is an inconvenient place for my army, but I'm going to put them in orbit. Just in case the Titans get too uppity. Oh, okay, this is going to be some pretty important intelligence here. So, huge shield penetration. Yikes. But like everything else is armor and hull damage, so going hard on shields is exactly what I need to do. But yeah, and as for them, like its evasion, its armor is really the best. But for some reason, they're actually able to have a better composition. Oh, it's because it's their cruiser. They don't have any corvettes inside. Yeah, again, these are ships that are designed to kill me, so.
Construction complete.
Okay, Okul has got its science... What? Oh no, right, we gave it a fabricator. How are we on... We have no rare crystals, so I actually want to be generating some of those if I can. We have a surplus of consumer goods though, so... Again, the important thing to remember about doing some of these specialized worlds are It's the fact that I can actually take, like, I could, if I wanted, I could downgrade these civilian fabricators and put them on the dedicated consumer goods world. It's mildly, actually, this is a great time for me to do that. So I'm going to downgrade it. It's going to mean a hit to my consumer goods right now. Really? It's because I don't have specialists. Alright, the Sondatharian allied planets and the Angonji nation. Okay, they have broken off the commercial pact. It seems their financial interests are no longer in line. So that strikes me as a sort of a prelude to war. Which might turn to my advantage. But we'll see. Do I actually have the... I do have the exotic gases to back this up. Good. While I'm at it... And they've broken off the non-aggression pact. Yeah, I wonder what their intentions are. I feel like there should be... I think there's like the military academy. I'm going to get some of those necessities down. And research agreements done. So if I want to declare war, I have got 6 years before that happens.
Construction complete.
Okay, more good news. We are sort of done our gazing inward.
Special inquiry concluded.
The enigmatic cache. Despite extensive research, the enigmatic cache and its origin are still shrouded in mystery. Though it is definitely not organic in nature, it is not entirely machine either. It appears to be preoccupied mainly with the gathering, storing, and encoding of data. Its surface is covered in hundreds of thousands of minuscule scratches and dents, in which we have discovered traces of a compound that is alien to our galaxy. More engineering research. So hopefully Kabji reaches equilibrium again. Okay, nice. So yeah, that was the problem that I had was I looked at that 8 available jobs and said, oh, so this is obviously
finalized.
this is obviously going to work, but there's a difference between specialists and workers. So, and we're no longer in a deficit for consumer goods. That's good. We're starting to do the shifts that I had in mind. Automated mining base. We have detected an automated mining base built in close orbit around asteroid 393427. There are large chunks of the hull missing, and jagged holes indicative of heavy weapons damage. The station is beyond repair, but salvaging it will provide us with valuable materials. I mean, 500 minerals is not exactly the sort of thing that I'm going to get out of bed for anymore, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Okay, we got to get back on track with REAC because we built the Betharian power plant, but now we need to we sort of need to move to the next level. So if I want to fill up jobs, I mean 2 more agriculture districts and Bob's your uncle. But what else do I want to do with this world? It is in the frontier sector, so this would probably be a good alloy world, but before we turn it into an alloy world, what else must it have? Bureaucratic complex, consumer research. Okay, that sort of tells me everything that I need to do. So we'll start them off with alloys because I really need more of those, and then we'll sort of pick them up on the remaining elements in due time.
Construction complete.
We have discovered a new archaeological site. A crashed starship in the Kiftar system. Something tells us we will not be the ones to explore that, but you never know. Okay, did we finish our... Okay, the Grand Herald is done. Alva Station is done. Okay, so I actually still have room for 16 more points of battleships. Apparently, I just do not know how to do math. So, I got 4 more points to spend. I know where those 4 points are going to come. I can do math, it turns out. It just didn't build me my extra destroyers. So let's knock those out right now. Oh, but what kind of destroyer do I want? The Ersk Torshka class. Okay, good news. I have got my first sort of major fleet done. And we can start considering sort of a backup fleet. I mean, so the challenge here, of course, is that it's going to want to fill the next the remaining 16 points. I'm just leaving that open so that I can put destroyers inside, or not battleships inside when I build them. But in the worst case scenario, I just fill it up with more ships. Actually, you know what? I guess I could just put some more cruisers inside. Cal Upton built a starbase, right? The Ersk Bavum apparently doesn't know what to do with itself. Well, that's a nice place to be in, I suppose. So, where do I want you exploring? It wouldn't hurt to get some intelligence in terms of what's going on in here, because certainly my enemies are looking around. So apparently this is already under exploration. Oh, it's because the guy died. Okay. Robot Companion strikes me as a really nice bonus to have, and they are the youngest, so I bless you, the new captain of the Ersk Bovum. Let's take a minute here and just make sure that my other scientists, yeah, the ones who are focusing on the... Okay, well, I mean, they can really do whatever they want now, so...
Construction finalized.
Looks like they're getting pretty aggressive in terms of expanding out here. They don't have any planets yet, unfortunately. I'd love to do some kind of subjugation on them, but...
Scientific progress attained.
How are these guys doing? As our empire grows, so does our understanding of our own biology. Advanced medical treatments on a cellular level have allowed for significant advancements in population health. So, we're pretty even as far as social research goes. I mean, Hypercom's forums would give me even more unity in society. The clone army is definitely inexpensive, and then food processing would help me out with my food problems, but I don't really have food problems now. So let's go for a quick clone army, and I will definitely seriously consider regenerative hull tissue at this point. Now, Rurius, right, I forgot about this.
Construction finalized.
So these guys... Let's just make sure. Okay, so it looks like we've got some piracy problems in the Rurius area. Ooh. It's actually going to be a harder one than I thought, because Rurius is already protecting the area. Well, I think the answer to that is going to be to upgrade my my bases when it comes down to it. So let's do sort of what I've always been planning to with these and invest in some logistics offices. Okay, so this is a trade hub. Want to make sure that I'm getting the extra dollar where I can. And I'm out of alloys. But at the end of the month, we'll have enough to upgrade. So I'm feeling a bit better. Militarily, we definitely have room to improve. But as far as the sort of the state of my main fleet is concerned, I've sort of hit where I wanted to be with that. The next step is we're getting a little bit better at alloy production. We're more maintaining more than anything, but we're sort of on track to doing some other big moves soon. Not least of which will be I'm actually going to start terraforming some worlds to improve the efficiency with which I'm producing resources. Now, I want to make sure that I basically have about 1,500 available each time I do that. I think it's going to cost me like 10k a pop to do that terraform, but it'll sort of pay off in the long run. The reason why I want to make sure that I have like 15k in the bank is just to make sure that the the curators and the artisan troupe don't come asking for subscription money when I can't afford it. So autonomous station protocols, research station output plus 10%. Increased automation of station functions will free up more staff for research duties. Okay, Research Institute's going to be a pretty big one. And this is going to be because I'm actually starting to build some science worlds. However, like I'd said, it turns out that energy is a major problem with my current fleets. So we are going to research the antimatter reactor. And we've got our best man on it, the Exile. Actually, Fadravis would be more appropriate. Sobak would be even more appropriate. So let's realign these. Okay, so I've got some decisions to make now in terms of how close I want to go in on these guys' territory. I know I had some plans before. We've got a bunch of amoeba in the way. I suppose this... Oh, maybe I just wanted this for the choke point. Good question. I won't question my decision to take this one. I am, however, going to start focusing on going down south so that I can claim these slightly more habitable worlds. Actually, before I do that, we'll get you to build a research station, and then... That's mostly busy work, because I know my alloys are going to be taken up building some improvements. Okay, so the offward trading company, again, we get more trade value and whatnot. It does hurt me a little bit in terms of naval capacity. Obviously, I could build naval logistics offices instead and get my fleet cap up. But I'm going to get a number of those coming online, and I think the better thing for me to do now is either... So one, I do need to build more star bases. I have room for 4 more. But on top of that, I really should start... the material composition of this asteroid differs significantly from its neighbors. It is likely has a different origin from the other bodies in this asteroid belt and should be investigated more closely. So in this particular case, power for my ships. I feel to a certain extent that it's actually better for me to focus on upgrades to my existing star bases rather than brand new star bases. Partly because I'm going to be expanding out. So expanding out here, the only thing I like, if the stagnant ascendancy wakes up and wants to fight me, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about that. I'm just going to take a quick moment here. I'm pretty sure all of my sectors have got just a ridiculous amount of so yeah, local stockpiles are fine. Shared stockpile, it's enormous. There's really no point in doing any more of this. I should actually start telling the Kabji system to start focusing on science. But I like micromanaging, apparently. Okay, so honestly, the best option here is to sell. It's dumb because I'm not going to make a lot of money for it, but... And in exchange, I made 5,000, so I'll buy 5,000 worth of alloys. I guess that means I get to build star bases. You know,
system resources analyzed.
I'm not sure I'm gonna win this race, but I think stopping these guys at Padma. Ooh, yeah, I can actually lock these guys in rather well. Asteroid fossils. Fossils from what appears to be several species of aquatic animals have been found on this barren and airless surface of AA 23019. They're indications that the surrounding asteroid belt was created from the remains of a shattered planet, and these findings seem to confirm that theory. Judging by the fossils, the planet supported life and was at least partially covered by water. So there is movement in the upper atmosphere of Aculum 5, as though a ship was gliding hurriedly through the clouds. So I'll wait until we build the resource. Again, it's going to be a shot in the dark. I have a feeling that they'll be able to get these two. Actually, you know what? Let's see what they're up to. Yeah, they're already on their way. If I'm going to make this happen, I need to make it happen now. Do I need the shipyard to build the construction ship? I think you do now. Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's try it. Just trying to think if I have enough influence to sustain 3 construction ships. I think I do.
Construction finalized.
Istran Void Raiders. Aye! Akano Domax, we come visit your systems. We save you from growing too rich and too fat, yes! As you think of reason why you not make good Dwamak stew. Yes, please take these minerals. Oh, whatever shall we do without our minerals? You smart, Dwamak. We now have to look for Dwamak stew elsewhere. Much trouble for us, but no trouble for you. I'm fairly certain I'd be able to take out one of their raiding fleets. It's been a while since I've seen their strength, but I'd rather not risk. I'd rather not risk it, to be completely honest. What else am I going to do? We'll wait for the construction ship to finish. They'll do the Betria system, and then we'll get them on sort of details here. We'll have one construction ship heading over here, one construction ship heading over. So one construction ship here, one construction ship here, and then the third one, if we can, in the Padma system and beyond.
Anomalous readings detected.
We've detected odd radiation that our science officer demands to investigate. Well, if they put it that way. Lost Amoeba! The ISS Ersk Hessent has located the source of the movement in the upper atmosphere of Aculum 5. Surprisingly, there was no ship hidden in the clouds, but rather a young space amoeba, its mother nowhere to be seen. There's no way of knowing how this juvenile was separated from its mother or others of its kind, but one thing is certain, it appears to have imprinted on the ISS Ersk Hessent. As the crew completed their survey of Aculum 5, they found that the amoeba was following them. It has proven difficult to shake, and Gapra Kep has taken quite a shine to the youngster's determination. Our science officer suggests allowing the juvenile to follow the vessel. We may learn from the space amoeba in the process. So, very well. Out of the question, keep avoiding it, or we can certainly study it. Order the dissection! Very well. We'll send it back home for now. It's not a strong amoeba. But of course, we know what happens to this amoeba over time, so... I'm gonna need some consumer goods in a while, but I think it's better. I'll just wait for that to turn over to a negative before I batten down the hatches.
Construction finalized.
All right. Hopefully that's going to translate into some more money. Again, I'm doubtful that we're actually going to be able to take Padma on time. I think I needed to... I gave that up on a previous playthrough, and that was probably not... That's probably not the move I should have made. Yeah, they're going for it right now. Well, that's fine. We can just claim it, I suppose. Fire of the Furnace. We have made an interesting find on Inthor 2. However, it is not related to the planet itself. While conducting our usual tests, we captured some odd data from a far-off system star. Its radiation indicates that it has been able to fuse together beryllium without spallation, something that should not be possible. The science team are eager to investigate and have limited the potential stars down to 2 not-too-distant systems. Consult the situation log for details. So we don't have time for this, or this could prove useful. Begins the unusual star stuff event
Ship
change.
log updated.
I pretty much always go for these events, so... I do kind of wish it would have told me where they are. I'm assuming this is the unusual star stuff. Yeah, they're all auto-exploring. It's very unlikely we're actually gonna succeed at this, but let's give it a shot.
Construction complete. Scientific progress attained.
Okay, a few. Gene banks, clone army, gene banks, filter and curate available genomes for deployment in clones. Now, I mean, this is... I've got my Titan, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. As far as social is concerned, we've got foreign soil enrichment, which will help me with habitability. Refit standards will improve ship upgrade costs and ship upkeep. That's a fairly important one for me, largely due to the ship upkeep. It will help me with my alloys. And then there's always regenerative hull tissue. So hull tissue is going to take me 26 months. Refit standards will take me 21. What am I looking at for 5%? My ships take 15 at the moment. So 5% of 15 is not exactly the sort of thing that I want to... I think we're just going to go for the hull tissue. Okay, droids, robotic assault army, and droid workers. Upgraded robotic workers. These units have an expanded movement range equal to that of most organics. Their neural processors have also been greatly improved. So we're not quite ready for a living metal. It is tempting to do civilian replicomplexes because we are kind of getting near our cap on consumer goods. Rare crystal manufacturing, being able to produce additional crystals will allow me to upgrade my replicator kiosks, which is fairly important. And we can get a base bonus to mining, which I don't think is really worth it right now. I think at this point, let's go for the crystal manufacturing. That's something I can throw on one of my, my industrial worlds. Esteemed High King Fawn 1, or Fawn the First. A decade ago, the Akano High Kingdom pledged to support the artisan troop, and so you have. The time of your patronage is coming to an end, but we would be remiss not to ask, would you care to renew your subscription to the finest arts and crafts in the galaxy? It's still a deal. I do like the unity that I get from that. It also possibly means that I will not be able to afford terraforming and the 2
System
subscriptions.
Resources analyzed.
Basilius Watch, I don't seem to remember. See, this is a really cool model. The Pelismus Watchers, Holy Guardians. Another child, know that we are the Pelismus Watchers, the chosen people of this galaxy. Respect our holy places, and we may refrain from annihilating you. We do not care for your frivolous morality. An unusually deliberate geometric configuration of mineral drills through the debris left by the debris belt by 49 F88 and is possibly of alien origin. Okay. There is no hope at all that I'm going to be able to make it to this thing. So we'll give up and focus on the other star. I think we're starting to get an idea of the overall state. We've definitely fallen a bit in our position. So the Sithorian and the Visari have certainly pushed ahead fairly substantially. So we still have we've actually expanded our technological lead, which is good. Economically, though, we are desperate compared to these guys. I should actually figure out what they are. Yeah, they're just really big and really rich. And I'm going to need to figure out a way of dealing with that, because I can have all the good tech in the world, but if they can just keep throwing more ships at me, that's still going to result in me losing. So we've found 2 stagnant ascendancies. There are 2 more. There are 2 more species that are that we know of in terms of this overall ranking. So we've got 1 through 12. So 1, 2, we still haven't met 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the Astani Trade Union are probably the bottom. I mean, it's hard, right? It's entirely possible that there are actually other species, like other than the 2 in these gaps here, but we'll see. At some point we're going to fill up the galaxy, and then we're actually going to need to fight each other for stuff, so. Okay, well, that's not surprising at all. Again, the worst case scenario here is I just make some claims on the tastier sectors. I'm thinking probably just slice this off for ourselves. I mean, Birzun would be amazing to pick up, but that seems a little optimistic. There's less. So this is not as important to me so much as it just happens to be a nice batch of sort of choke points and a planet that I can colonize. But I also have things that I can colonize. Oh no, I don't have things that I can colonize within my borders. I can convert some of these worlds though. So we've got a desert right now, which we can't colonize. Well, I can, but with like... Oh, hang on. I keep forgetting we can do this. Terraforming to an alpine world will cost me 5k. Interesting. Okay, so that's good to keep in mind. Now, what about the worlds that I already inhabit? So if I wanted to terraform an Arctic world to an Alpine world... Oh, trivial. Okay. Then yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to wait until I've got 7,000 energy credits, and I'm slowly going to start converting my my Arctic worlds into Alpine worlds, and we're going to carry on in that vein until finished. That's like the easiest productivity improvement that I can do for my empire right now, and I'm surprised I didn't look at that closer. So I am curious where this guy's going to be heading next. It looks like they're actually trying to fill in the gap, and they're probably going to win this race, to be honest. It looks like they're actually heading for Chaleb. Yeah, that's exactly where they're going. So how far are we? Yeah, not even close. I mean, I did say that I was ceding it to them, and the fact I changed my mind way too late for that to be even remotely of a good idea. So I wasted my my construction ship's time a little bit, but that's life. I think we're gonna head out to... We'll take up these moats. I think probably I'm gonna drive my expansion. Basically, my expansion is gonna be largely driven by strategic resources. The Prince, in gentle orbit around the massive 49F88, floats a portable databank. Scooped up by the ISS JAL Imakun, it is found to contain text in some alien language. The vocabulary is not wholly unfamiliar, but the syntax is disconcertingly complex. Science Officer Tislia recommends a more thorough study to decipher the text's contents and origins. Analyze it on Old Albania.
Sit log updated.
And 2 months of social research.
System resources analyzed.
Okay, so I've got an idle construction. Oh, well, that's easy to see why. It would be ideal for me to sort of do this expansion in a way that doesn't generate too many gaps, but I'll kind of do this on a case-by-case basis. So maybe like Halvin...
Special inquiry concluded.
Halvin, Delphine, Puntrazed. It won't be terrible to get this all dealt with. Eller's certainly getting a station. All right, the text, its title roughly translates to regional ruler, is written in a presumably ancient dialect of the Sondrithian language. I need to figure out who this... here we go. Spoken in the Sondrithian allied planets, the text is doubtlessly of some historical import to them and might contain valuable insights. So let's divine the secrets they need not know. 44 influence. We will return it to its proper owners. Hail them, and their prose is pedestrian. Their ideas weak. Hail them. These guys, I believe, can smash me. Yes, they can. They are somewhat favorable. But yes, let's return it to the proper owner, because I know we can't... It's unfriendly attitude. Yeah, we'll try not to like be too aggressive with them. I mean, they're gonna start a war soon anyway, so let's return it to the proper owners. Hail them. We understand that you have found the only surviving copy of The Prince, a text of significant historical and cultural importance to our people. We thought it irrevocably lost to a pirate raid years ago, but we are grateful to see that it has found its way into civilized hands. Will you return it to us? We'll gladly transfer some energy credits for your trouble. Okay, 1,500 energy credits. I'll happily take that. That lets me do my terraforming. But of course. So, I mean, they're somewhat favorable to us. I'm sure that'll decay over time, but it buys me a little... Buys me a little time with them, I suppose. Through hard work and experience, scientist Gapra Cap has developed new skills. They now have also developed a custom AI assistant. That makes me reasonably happy. I've got a fair number of alloys that are piling up, so I really should be investing in my fleets again. But before I do that, I do want to start transforming my worlds. So, number 1, terraform. Congratulations, you will now become an alpine world. And every time we get 7,000 energy, I'm just going to convert another world. Oh, cool, we'll be next. Now, Riak is...
Sitlog updated.
Yeah, Riak's going to be a little more difficult. Encounter in Chothar. We have encountered some form of alien vessels in the Chothar system. These strange objects have been flagged as the Kai Menace until we can learn more about them. We should proceed with caution. Well, it shouldn't take us too long to get this done. I'm assuming this is the other batch of raiders. Fully fledged, the amoeba juvenile that joined our fleet some time ago appears to have reached full maturity. Now an impressive adult, she is no less loyal to the ships that gave her a new home than she was when she was stranded on Aculum 5. Her time spent with the fleet appears to have encouraged adaptive behaviors not typically found in wild space amoebas, making her a more formidable presence on the battlefield than others of her kind. Across the Kano High Kingdom, her image has become something of a mascot for the Akano spirit. Only one question remains. What should we name her? Okay, so now we need to come up with an appropriate dwarven name for our amoeba pep. We've got Bubbles, Nyx, Renegade, Yuka, Saito, Boomer, Blaze, Nova. These are all terrible. We should think of something better. Blitz, Zero, Deva, Koss, Amoeba, Beauregard, Old Bluey, Zeke. Old Bluey it is.
Special inquiry concluded.
The Yildar Freeholders encountered. We have made first contact with the Yildar Freeholders, a nomadic civilization. They occupy a number of large space stations in and around the Hofram system that house the bulk of their massive numbers in crowded and squalid conditions. Despite this, or perhaps because of it, they seem to have developed a strong martial culture. Life in the cold void has become second nature to them, and they are very adept at space warfare. There's no Yildar central government to speak of. Instead, they are divided into several different factions that vie endlessly with one another for resources and respect. Given their large population and the shipbuilding capability of their stations, this constant infighting is the only thing keeping them from growing into a significant threat to galactic peace. Attempt to contact them. Outsiders, we are the Yildar. Unlike the civilized star nations of the galaxy, we have no single master to lord over us, but I have been chosen to convey this message to you on behalf of all the houses. Do not try to impose your soft and effete ways upon us. You may freely send your alien ships into Yildar territory, but do not expect them to return. Our warriors will welcome the diversion, however. Transmit on this frequency only if you wish to offer tribute, or if you have need of mercenaries, as well as the means to pay for them. Okay. I'm just gonna put a big old "don't go in here" button on these. Should have done this too. Because my military ships have a really bad habit of running through this territory, and if I were to do if I were to go to war with the Akano Nation, for instance, that would be bad. Okay, another dead explorer. Send in the next clone. 31 genius works for me. I should put them in the labs, but they'll gain more experience doing this. So. Okay, Ceradon. I think Ceradon was going to be another research world, if memory serves. Yep. So, how am I doing for exotic gases? I can afford one more here. So that's going to give me, that's 2 to 5. So that's actually going to give me 3 jobs. Which is completely fine because I can just hit... Where are you? Sacre bleu. Okay, there we go. And at some point, I should gain access to the upgraded building. Maybe it's because I don't have a... There's like another upgrade. Ah, planetary capital. Maybe it's that. We'll find out. So we still have 7 jobs available on the capital. That's... Alright. Ah, okay, so mining station here is done. So I guess I've got old Bluey still needs to go back home. Okay, idle construction ships. They're already working on this. This guy's going to be upgrading my existing holdings and heading down here. And I've been cut off in this region, so I suppose I will grab whatever opportunities I can up here. At least within reason. So Vokon, I'm okay with. Essentially, I gotta like slice it. I need to slice it in meaningful ways. So Knights is okay to take. If I want to do any further grabs, I need to take cats, and that means I'm going to have to fight some amoeba. This barren and lifeless world is showing signs of once having supported a biosphere, so we'll research that. This, by the way, is a really sneaky little trick I can do, because it means that I can take Nimolan and grab Birzun, which cuts them off completely from this territory. Alright. So again, I'm not in any rush to actually colonize these planets. I should eventually get down to it, but I don't want to cause too much grief in terms of...
we will build a brighter future.
in terms of expansion. So, synthetic crystal plants. The crystallization process is complicated and difficult, but synthetic crystals can be manufactured by using specialized industrial plants. What kind of plants? Okay. Strikecraft, but I'm not really using them right now. Antimatter reactors coming online soon. As it turns out, I don't actually need to upgrade. I already need to upgrade my existing station, so it might make a little more sense for me to put some points into weapons. The plasma thruster will get me around faster, which is a very important one for me right now, because I've got one starbase and a lot of area to cover. But I think, against my better judgment, I'm going to go for the advanced railgun. Unless these wind up being... yeah, these are not even remotely close to what I want to research. So, let's run with that. We're going to be close to terraforming soon. And I think I actually finally need to, before I do anything else, I'm going to need to make a new fleet. So, create a new fleet. Oops. Our detailed survey of Fatus B2A has revealed that it may once have supported life in the distant past. There are significant deposits of frozen water at the polar ice caps and beneath the moon's surface. The existence of valley networks suggests that the water may once have flowed freely. Terraforming this moon would be theoretically possible, but we do not yet possess the technology to accomplish this monumental task within a realistic time frame. Fascinating. Okay, let's we have enough for this, so we'll fire it off right now. It's likely going to fill up the Grand Herald fleets first, which is fine. I'll live with that. Okay, we said we were going to do workplace motivators. There are many ways to motivate those who perform menial labor to work harder. Some are based on incentives, and some not. So, resource from workers and slaves increased by 5%. Still no luck as far as getting these guys to inferior. Of course, I've not been investing in my military, so I shouldn't be too surprised by that. But what do you think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to hit the fleet cap first, and then whoa! The Akano and the Andgaj. Okay, that's not surprising at all. But it does mean... so I've got 2 years if I want to try any monkey business. It would be really nice. This is... it doesn't actually say what the terms are.
Construction.
We're going to go for a non-aggression pact with these guys.
System resources analyzed.
This is before they get any kind of territory negatives for me. And it does not actually say what the war is about, so... so this is going to be a hit to my influence, but I, unfortunately, even though I'm a racist, I'm actually going to need some friends in the next little while, and the Akano Nation seems to be, if they wind up being a nice buffer for me, that, you know, I'm not going to turn that down. Okay, antimatter reactor. By harnessing the energy produced by matter-antimatter annihilations, our efficiency at generating ship power will be orders of magnitude better than fusion. So hopefully that's going to make my ships a little bit more effective. But we'll see. Moving on. It's a tough call to say whether I want advanced shields or plasma accelerators at this point. Is there a black hole at the middle of this galaxy like in real life? That's a good question. We don't actually get to see the middle of the galaxy, Eyes of Sin, but there are some black holes within. Have you seen the horizon signal out of curiosity, Sin? Because if not, I actually have a small video to show you. It's the black hole that starts sending you love poetry. I'm really tempted to go for advanced shields here, even though it costs me a little bit more. We're looking at another year. I think I'm going to go for it. Yes, you saw me play through it. Okay, yeah. So you know that black holes are wonderful, wonderful moments. So this is basically what we get to see. I have some, like, if anybody's going to be able to see the center of the galaxy, I am. But in this particular case, we don't get to see what lies at the middle of the galaxy. Although, let's see if I can find you a black hole. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Let's go to Old Albania. Let's make a decision. Let's spend artifacts to museums so that we can get even more unity. Here is Urkanon's Maw.
System resources analyzed.
The black hole is speaking to us. The Chabki Rada. Greetings from New Baldorak. Things are progressing well here on our new colony. However, we have a small request. Chabi Rada, one of our colonists, misses her family and friends on Baldorak terribly and wants to go home. Her whining is driving us crazy. If it's not too much to ask, do you think you could take her back? Very well.
Sit log updated.
Excellent. Hopefully this won't put too much of a strain on your resources, since you'll only be transporting a single individual. We'll make the necessary arrangements on our end. I just broke the news to Chakbi, and she is spinning with joy. In fact, she's spinning out of control now. You'll have to excuse me, Akano friends. I love this quest line. It's kind of annoying. I think that's by design, but I really love it. So, for those of you who don't know, I can't do this now because, I don't know, like cheat. Console is not available in multiplayer or Iron Man mode. But if you go into the console, you can actually enable a controller in the game, which gives you a lot finer grained control over the ability to like pan and zoom and stuff like that, and you can get these beautiful shots of the game. You can set up sort of these wonderful moments. So one of the things I love doing is setting up a black hole, and obviously here I can only rely on the sort of the settings of my mouse, but just being able to do this nice sort of zoom in, see all the light bending around it, it's really nice. Hello, Ed Baver. I'm gonna warn you, we're probably gonna be wrapping up in a little while, but you love how they got your current understanding of what black hole might look like nailed. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously everything pre-black hole photo. It's a really fun little moment. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, if I don't build this research station here, I'm never going to build it. So, obviously, it's really fun to take a look at historical portrayals to see how close they got. But well, in fairness, Ed Baver, I mean, I'm already running kind of late on this one, so I'm trying to do it as close to the full length as I can. But I've had a headache from the beginning of the cast, and I do have work in the morning. I not only do I have work in the morning, I actually have some other stuff I kind of wanted to get done for tomorrow. Before I finish. But we'll make the most of the time that we have. Okay, the Sondrithian allied planets have declared the Astani Trade Union their rival, so I'm not at all unhappy about that. One of the things that's kind of nice about them is now that we've got mutual rivals, it means that we're more likely to get along. Again, this is going to wind up hitting my... my influence a bit, but because these guys have got a stronger fleet, I'm going to try and lock in some non-aggression pacts with people, just to make sure that I have some survivability once the Anganj nation
Anomalous
falls.
readings detected.
VK-189T is home to a number of exquisite impact craters. However, something breaks the visual uniformity in one of the larger craters. So I'm pretty sure these guys... Well, I mean... They don't completely hate me, but we're not exactly the best of friends. The good news here is that these are out of everybody sort of down here who I'm not already at a rival with. these are going to be the most likely people that I could take on in a fight, so...
System resources analyzed.
I'm also in a defensive pact with these guys. As it happens, though, they've got a stronger fleet than me, so... Nearby science ship.
Complete.
Surely we've got like a spare. Oh, I've got an idle construction ship. That makes me sad. Oh, they just finished. All right, they're doing something important. We've got way too many science ships kicking around here right now. So here's what we're gonna do. Oh. Ah, okay, never mind. We will send the science ship to go return Chakbi. The governor on Old Albania is dead, so Governor Vikalva has died at age 99. So the real question is, what traits do I want this guy to have? So Perak Vis, if I was so inclined. Let's see what our options are before I do any recruitment. Okay, so we do actually have an intellectual. What I think I'm going to do then, in anticipation of the Kabji system becoming more science-focused, Perak Vis is now going to take over the Iverim system. The Kabji system is going to get Junak Welk. And this is just going to be because we've got a tech world and we're going to start building some more science on these worlds. So even though they're kind of a junior representative, eventually this is going to be transformed into something a little bit more accommodating to science. Okay, let's get you turned into an alpine world.
Our research has progressed.
Okay, regenerative hull tissue. A genetically altered version of silicon-based bacteria could potentially be manipulated to regenerate non-organic materials. I forgot I was going to take a look at what the AI generated for ships to see whether or not they have any shields, because I don't mind throwing away my old designs if the AIs are better. It just gives me one less thing to think about. Okay, I can get extra command limit, which will give me more shooty. Galactic Administration's really tempting because I get another civic slot, and System Capital Complex will give me yet another capital building. Food Processing Centers isn't bad because it would help me out with my agro world, but I don't really need it right now. I'm not using Commerce Megaplex. So really at this point, it's the combat training, the Doctrine Interstellar Warfare, or the Galactic Administration. In this particular case, I think I'm going to go for the Galactic Administration just because it really does help me to be able to build those better buildings. Okay, so let's go to our Fleet Manager before we go any further. Not Fleet Manager, our Fleet Ship Designer. So the AI still thinks that... What? Wow, they just really hate shields, apparently. I mean, I can live with this. We've apparently got more power than we know what to do with. Yeah, screw it. I'm happy with this. What's this gonna cost me? Right, I can't have the Grand Herald and 7. Yeah, we can afford it. Yeah, it's weird. Like, I think probably, so I think there's two things. Number one, just because I'm dealing with a strong, so it's the combination of the fact that the AI has a bunch of sort of construction bonuses, and the fact that everybody was left alone for so long means that I'm at a really big disadvantage against them. So what I normally sort of rely on is that my combined technological and industrial might to render any, like, fleet composition irrelevant. And this is, of course, the big challenge that I've been facing, especially with the fact that I've got this Titan ship, is that it turns out my position is a lot weaker than it seems at first glance. So I think there's two things happening, which is I had certain assumptions about how good the AI manager was, just because I'd sort of relied on this economic play to sort of allow me to ignore that other dimension. And then I think the other thing that's happening here is I'm probably playing something a little bit closer to what I should be, because I'll admit, like, the last couple of sessions have just been me, like, steamrollering over everyone. But it's a fun challenge. Like, it's definitely really interesting to see how I deal with these situations. And I think what's really gonna be interesting on this playthrough when I get to it is, once all of that easy expansion is done, whether or not decisions that I've made, like not having a spare shipyard in another area, not putting enough investment inside of my fleet size, to see whether or not that's crippled me enough that when sort of these sleeping giants sort of realize that I'm easy pickings, whether or not I'm going to be able to overcome that in time, or whether I'm sort of going to collapse under my my inefficient expansion. And I'm genuinely unsure. I definitely have a feeling that I'm going to have to learn. One of the reasons why I did this was I wanted to learn the mechanics of the game a little bit better. And obviously you can't do that if you're playing, if you're playing something that you're sort of you're not feeling very challenged by. But it's definitely been a learning experience for sure. Fender Bender. While the crater in question was most likely the result of a regular meteorite impact, the complex patterns and the resulting depression originated at a later time. Science officer Tupra Tislia argues that the surface-level patterns are not the result of an impact, but a collision, one between an asteroid VK-189T and some unspecified orbital installation or ship of alien make. Add circuits in the dust modifier, 3 engineering in a system that I'm never going to colonize. Alright. It's midnight, guys, so I'm a few minutes short of where I'd want to be, but I think I need to call it because, again, I need to deal a little bit with what the other things I need to do. As far as an overall goal, we definitely did improve our alloy. We definitely improved our alloy production. Maybe not as much as we wanted, but we are sort of we're at capacity in the Grand Herald. We're on our way to a second fleet. I've also felt a lot less constrained in terms of my ability to expand the fleet, so some good news there. As far as my stations are concerned, we actually hit another milestone in terms of all existing star bases are now at capacity. I am, of course, going to need to upgrade them at some point. It's going to cost me... Oh, only 335. That's a lot less than I thought it was going to be. But this is, like, we are prime for doing some of these upgrades because we're going to have some piracy problems in a bit. I'm probably going to need to redraw my defenses in all likelihood. I think... I mean, I'm kind of okay where we are with the Andigonj, although it would be nice if I can maybe gobble up to this sector, and if we could take the wormhole, that would be great, because at that point we just slowly bleed them out. What else do we have? I definitely need to build another shipyard somewhere. The thing is, like, right now, this arm doesn't do a whole lot, and there's not really a lot of colonizable worlds. What's probably going to happen is I wind up putting a shipyard somewhere in this little area here. The other possibility, of course, is I can get a lot more sectors if I start terraforming some of these worlds, but the thing is I need to spend the money on it, and it makes a lot more sense for me to take the worlds that I already have and sort of upgrade them. That way I get the production efficiencies that I've been missing out on, because one of the challenges is a lot of the worlds that we've been expanding onto have been ones with fairly low habitability, and as a result we've been sort of paying for that. But I mean, this is the big thing. Right now we're sort of at the blobbing out phase. I want to try and grab as good of a position as I can. We've got the buffer of the stagnant ascendancy here. There's going to be some line that gets drawn with these guys somewhere in this arm of the galaxy, unless there's like another stagnant ascendancy. Oh, there's got to be one, actually. We know there's two who are more powerful than the existing, pros. These guys are starting to run away with me and score a little bit, but this is just purely economic strength. I'm kind of catching up on economic strength, but fortunately, technology, I've actually widened the gap a little bit. And then the people below me, actually, it turns out these guys are punching above their weight. I'm not 100% sure why I have a lower level than them. Yeah, like at this point, just looking at the fact that their economic advantage is driven almost entirely from the fact that they outnumber us. This is one of the reasons why, instead of sort of hunkering down like I was originally going to, I want to expand out to at least these colonizable worlds. It'd be nice to sort of see what I have. The fact that there's sort of gas here and somewhat defensible positions, I'm thinking we seize... So, I mean, I take this for myself. If we stopped at Breek... No, not Breek. It would have to be Fatis? No, it would be Aculum. So if we stopped at Aculum, the only way that they could get into our... This would basically be where the choke point would be. We'd add a choke point somewhere to the north here. It's currently Craxima, but... Well, actually, it's not Craxima because there's not a defensive position there. It's currently Kildatha. So these are kind of relics from the old borders. Also, if I run out of bases... Oh, did I already get rid of this base? Yeah, that's right, because the Wraith was born. But yeah, at this point, I think I probably just want to seize as much territory as I can. Obviously, alloys, moats, lots of moats. Moats, of course, will allow me to upgrade my alloys. Looks like we've got 3 exotic gases that we can seize. All of this will help me with basically obtaining the weapons of war and building the weapons of war. So these are, even though my Empire Sprawl is going to go, into even more ridiculous levels, I think this is the right call, because I need to try and get some easily colonizable worlds, and then on top of that, I need to start terraforming some of my existing worlds to be able to get my population and my economy to where it needs to go. So we'll see. Again, the reason why I'm doing a lot of these non-aggression pacts too is just to try and keep myself in a position of safety with regards to some of the greater powers. Just to buy me some breathing room. My mid cap, does that ever seem worth it once you're this big? I mean, it's always... So I always look at these things in the lens of opportunity cost. So we've definitely got some extra points. We're currently at 140 administrative capacity versus our total Empire Sprawl of 330. What you're paying for are technology costs, tradition adoption costs, campaign costs, leader upkeep, leader cost. So I'm generating like bucket loads of energy, so that's fine. Now what about tradition and technology adoption? Well, I still have a technological edge. I could stand to improve my engineering, to be completely honest, but these things will sort of come in time. And then as far as Unity is concerned, I have like a dedicated planet to Unity. So my homeworld right now is generating 142 Unity. So as far as like the penalties to some of the bonuses, I always look at it this way. So it's like, what are the things that I'm most worried about right now? I'm worried about technology costs and tradition adoption costs. And then what I need to do is I say, okay, so what's it going to cost me to build another research station? What's it going to cost me to build another Unity building? Well, on Old Elvania right now, I've maxed out my Unity production. The only way that I could conceivably improve it would be to take down this resource silo. Because let's face it, the fact that I'm getting an extra 2,000 towards my mineral storage, not really worth it at this point. I mean, I'm going to need it at some point, but I can just put it in like star bases. So there's a little bit of refinement that I can wind up doing on some of these worlds. But like as it is, like my main source of boosted Unity. So like the reason why I want to cram as many Unity buildings is this Ministry of Culture. And this was the plan all along, by the way. Like if I wind up in a situation, let's say I have a surplus of exotic gases, which is almost never going to happen, I can dismantle one of these and I can put another Unity producing building. I probably won't get rid of like the military academy, but hey, civilian fabricators, you know what? I've got an industrial world that's, a little more suited to that. Let's push that over. So the way that I look at it is, Empire Sprawl definitely gives me pause. But I also sort of take a look at some of the areas I'm going to be expanding out into. So there's not, in terms of the things that I need, there's quite a bit of science sitting here. There's a ton of strategic resources. And then more importantly, there's going to be 3 worlds that I capture that'll be giving me the ability to, they're going to be giving me the ability to generate more resources. And one final thing to keep in mind, so Unity and research require exotic gases. So the things I'm most focused on in terms of these extra costs, basically, let's ignore whatever the science I can get is. In terms of the ability to generate additional Unity and science, there's 2 exotic gases, 4 exotic gases, I thought there was another one. Apparently not. Okay, so we'll sit with the 4 exotic gases on top of that. That basically means that I get to fully upgrade one of my science buildings. And you can kind of see where the bonuses are right now. So like, where is it? We've currently got research complexes. It gives 5 researcher jobs and generates 20 in one tile. So it's one of these points. And then of course we're going to be doing places like Kabji, which becomes a tech world. When it gets enough, it's going to get the percent-based bonus towards. It's going to get the percent-based bonus towards research. So in these particular cases, again, you want to be, when you can, you want to be smart about the Empire Sprawl, but to my understanding, there's always been some variation on this inside of the game. Like you notice in the original game, your technology costs would go up as you expanded. So essentially what you just need to do here is you need to make sure that you're expanding out to places that you actually need. And in these cases, I'm getting the resources that will allow me to sort of maintain my position. And more importantly, what it's also going to do, especially if I get this system, it's going to wind up saving me some costs in terms of not needing to put as many defensive structures up in places that are weak. And so as a result, again, I get to focus on maintaining some buildings that will overcome the challenges of the Empire Sprawl. And then in the worst case scenario, like if I really get desperate, I can start spinning out some sectors as like vassals or something like that. But it's, again, it's the thing that's wonderful about Stellaris. It's like any other Paradox game. There's a lot of complexity inside of it. There's almost never a point where I've said, X is the right thing to do in all cases. In my situation here, I've never felt bad about going wide because I've always felt that I've been able to structure my economy in such a way that I'm able to overcome the challenges. And of course, that's going to be the big test because I'm at a point now where I'm not the biggest kid in the block. and I've actually got some genuine challenges. I'm not able to feast on the Astani trade union due to the Wraith. I've got powerful neighbors to the south, which is going to constrain my ability to expand, and I'm xenophobic, which means that I'm going to find it hard to get allies. And so we'll see whether or not this overexpansion, we'll see if it's overexpansion or if it just happens to be leveraging the advantages that I have. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, you know what, these guys got some huge bonuses because they were left alone for a while. So I want to do the same. I want to say, you know what, I get 2 arms of the galaxy, and that's going to boost my economy. And whether or not that works, we'll find out. But I've now hit the 3-hour mark, so I don't feel bad about saying that I'm done. So thank you everyone for watching. Again, just a reminder to everyone who is going to be, who likes watching my stuff. I'm going to do everything I can to stream Cultist Simulator on Wednesday. It's not guaranteed that will be the case, just because there are some. Essentially, I'm going to need to catch up on some stuff that I'm not going to do tonight for streaming past midnight. However, the plan currently is to stream Cultist Simulator on Wednesday. Friday, I'm going to be in Montreal, so it is almost certain that I'm not going to be doing any kind of a broadcast there. I might do a rerun of the A Way Out stream with Johnny Big Time. However, I will try to do a Periscope in Montreal if I can. So, we'll see. But don't expect any streams on Friday. I will be back likely on Monday. Just do keep in mind that Monday next week is my birthday. I've never felt bad about doing a stream on my birthday, but I might, especially if I've got a headache like now, like it might be kind of nice to just relax a little bit. But if you guys want to see me do like a special game for then, I would not be opposed to doing something nice that's off the beaten track. Or Stellaris. I mean, Stellaris is a wonderful game, so I'm happy to do more of that. And what else? I think that's it. There's gonna be, this month is gonna have some more sorry, I never finish on time, but this month is gonna have a few more holes in the schedule than I normally do. I missed last Mondays because it was Canada Day. Friday I'm in Montreal. And then, of course, next Wednesday is going to be the 3rd Wednesday of the month. Sorry, not this coming Wednesday, but the 17th. That's going to be the 3rd Wednesday of the month, which means that there's going to be Dirty Rectangles, and so I will be watching that. Obviously, that's a few more streams than I like to make. It's basically like a stream missed every week, and I know that makes people freak out. So it is not... It's not because I'm planning on streaming less, it's just this is the way that the holidays have worked out. And the fact of the matter is I do want to take care of myself and do other things. I'm getting tantalizingly close to some stuff that's actually related to the stream getting finished. And so some of this time that I'm taking off on other days is actually just being able to get some other things coming up. So with that in mind, I'll try and make sure that I have like vodcast style content. Obviously Elder Scrolls on Tuesday. It's very unlikely I'm going to be able to get another Surviving Mars stream done for Thursday because I've just got so many other things to do. But as always, Twitter, Discord, those are the places I'll announce that. Without further ado, I will see some of you in chat for Elder Scrolls tomorrow. I will see the rest of you for Cultist Simulator on Wednesday, and we will meet again, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm going to host K5RTO, who is streaming for the first time in what feels like forever, and you get a chance to see this good man. So feel free to drop the "We're tired of system talk, heard this place was better." He is currently playing Elite Dangerous, though he is listed as just chatting. He's also somebody who enjoys Stellaris, among other games. So I hope you guys have a good time with it, and we'll see you next one.